Hello friends, in this lecture we will see how we can do some Ajax actions using Jquery. It's really cool, isn't it? Because using Jquery you can perform Ajax actions using very few lines of code. Let's see how it works. So first in this lecture we will see the load method. So this is an empty document. Let's open it in browser. See, nothing is there. Let's close it. Now inside body, let's say we have a div with the class of load, and inside here contents will be loaded. Let's say we want to include the content of syntax.html. So let's open this in browser, this syntax.html. We have these 4 paragraphs. Let's close it for now. And currently our this jQuery Ajax load.html is empty. Let's open it in browser. It's empty. So let's load this page inside this div. So let's write $.load. So it's a class .load, and now we are mentioning the function or the method, that is load function. And now let's load syntax.html. So what we are doing here, we are mentioning the selector where we want the content to be loaded, and then we are mentioning the method name, that is load, and then inside parenthesis we are providing the URL which we want to be loaded inside this selector. So let's save it and let's open it in browser. See, now we have these 4 paragraphs being loaded. Well, let's make it dynamic. So what we will have, let's have a button with a value of say load. Let's save it. Now what we will do, let's write here a function. Let me indent it properly. So now here let's write $load button dot click function, and here we will have the function, and we will specify this method to be performed here. So let's save it, but we didn't provide any class to this button, so let's provide it. Class load button. Now let's open in browser. Now let's click on this load button. Here I have missed to provide a dot, so now let's save it. So now let's open in browser and load. There you go, our content has been loaded. Now let's come here inside syntax.html. Let me save this file as syntax load.html. Now why? Now you will understand, because let's provide here an ID of say para1. Let's save it. Now let's come here inside Ajax load.html and change the URL to syntax load.html and provide hash para1. Now let's open in browser and click on this load. See, now currently only one paragraph is loading, and that is this paragraph which has an ID of para1. So either you can load an entire page or you can load just a particular portion of a page. It's really cool, isn't it? Well, another thing that I should tell you, that is This can be a PHP page, an HTML page, or just a TXT page. I mean, a normal text page like this. And another thing is that it accepts three arguments. The first one is URL, the second one is data, which is optional, and the third one is the callback function. Let me write here function. So it's a callback function. So currently we are not providing any data. So this is useful when you are sending something to this page, and depending on this data, this page will process that data and it might send something as response, and that can be handled inside this function. So inside this function we have response. This is the response which we are getting from this page. Then status, this is for error handling, and another is that XHR, which is the object. Now again I am telling you, so first we are mentioning the URL, second data, which is optional, which is required when you are sending some data to this URL, and based on that it is sending some response, and that response will be stored here. This is the status, which might be required for error handling, and this is the object, this XHR. Currently we are having no data, so just this URL, and then we have this function. So now let's handle it. So if status, now this status has some default values, but generally we will work with two values. One is success and the other is error. So if status equals success, then just show some message that status is okay. So here you might have some operation to do. Say like if your status is success, then only then perform these operations. So let's say here we have another div with a class of say status. Let's close the div. Now if status is success, dollar dot status dot html, status is okay, or say action performed successfully, like this. Now here if status equals error, then just copy this, press Ctrl C to copy, paste it, and say and write here action not performed. Let's save it. Let's open in browser and hit load. Hi, this is paragraph 1 and action performed successfully. Even you can just spice it up just by adding, say, adding a paragraph with a class of say success. Now let's close this paragraph, and here let's write a style, and here inside style you can have dot success color green. So it's really cool. You are just attaching this class dynamically, and already you have mentioned in your CSS that all the elements with class success will have a color, will have a text color green. Now let's open in browser, hit load. See, action performed successfully is now green. Even you can make it bold, italic, whatever you want. So that's it, friends. I hope you find this lecture useful. So this is the first lecture of how you can do Ajax operations using jQuery using this dot load method. So again I am telling you, so first you need to provide the selector where you want the content to be loaded. Then just mention the method name, which is load, and then inside it accepts three arguments. The first one is the URL, the second one is the data, which is say for example we have a text box here just above the button, and there someone write their name, say Bob, and then they click on this load button. And what it will do, when this button is clicked, as we have mentioned here, then it will send that data, which is the data which you are sending to this URL. Then it will process that data, and then it will send the response here. And here we have the callback function. This function accepts three arguments. The first one is response, which is the response that is coming from this URL. Then the status, so this is for error handling, or something like, say, if status is success, then display this, or else display this one. And this XHR is the object. So that's it, friends. See you in the next lecture. Till then, have fun. Take care.